would like to pay tribute to all of you, federal member state presidents, but also those who are not here, the business community, the diaspora, the federal government, the president, for responding to the drought last year in such an amazing way. Again, let's remind ourselves that 18 months ago, people were saying that maybe 250,000 people could die of drought and famine. And yet there was national mobilization to respond to that. I think because the electoral process was seen as legitimate, the international community provided very large sums of money very quickly, but they worked, the humanitarian organizations were more prepared, and they worked with the private sector and with you, and it made a difference. We avoided a famine in 2017. That's incredible. Let's not forget these kind of very big achievements. I think another achievement has been, the emergence of a government in Mogadishu with a strong agenda. I know this is what you're going to be talking about, the implementation of that agenda. But the agenda is a strong one. It's about financial reform, economic reform, reform in the security sector, and inclusive politics in the Constitution, the electoral process, and I hope in strengthening approaches to conflict resolution and reconciliation. So I just want to make the point that I know the purpose of your meeting is to get into the nitty-gritty, but let's not lose the sense of perspective of where things are going. Of course, I'm very alarmed by what I've heard some of you saying about your concerns about the security situation in particular. That's of great concern. And there are many challenges, and as I think you've said, that after so many years of civil war, so much distrust among Somalis, and the absence of institutions, building institutions takes time. You can destroy them very quickly, but building them takes a lot of time, whether it's a justice system, an education system, whether it's an army or a police force. These are not technical matters. These are matters about building trust between everyone so that institutional capacity can emerge. And I think I'm not going to speak for long. I just want to sort of conclude by saying that, it has been a huge privilege for me to work with all of you. I have learned so much. In fact, I arrived, I think within 1 week, I had met all the principal political actors in this country, the President, the Prime Minister, the Speaker, the Deputy Speakers, the federal member state presidents, the ministers, because we were in the middle of a full-blown crisis about the electoral model. And guess what? The issues were, could Mogadishu trust, the federal member states? Could the federal member states trust Mogadishu? There were wonderful conspiracy theories. I think this is what I'm going to miss most, is all the conspiracy theories. Everything you do or say, everyone reads into it some wonderful conspiracy theory that shows the great imagination of Somalis. I mean, these conspiracy theories, if you could make money out of them, this would be a very rich country. But I do think, I think the point that a couple of you have made, and I believe, is that unity among Somali political leaders will allow this country to do almost anything. It's a rich country. The rivers, the oceans, the fish, the livestock, the people, the energy, the sun. It's a rich country. And we're being held back by lack of trust, by lack of institutions. And I think the fact that the federal government has chosen to label its agenda inclusive politics is very significant. And I think the point is they must be inclusive. And, that means having the mechanisms in place to make sure the politics really are inclusive, as well as having the personal relations that allow trust to be built and momentum to be made. And let me just say that, there are many federal countries in the world, and some of them are considered to be very advanced and sophisticated, like the United States or the Federal Republic of Germany. I'm telling you, they still have problems making their federal system work. And in some cases, that's 200 years after the countries were founded. They have issues about revenue and resource sharing. They have issues about the justice system. They have issues about the police and the army. And, I would very much and humbly request, even though I sense the frustration, that coming out of this meeting will be, it is your prerogative to express your political views, but constructive suggestions as to how we move forward in each of these areas. And as I think, as President Gass said, there are good plans in place, and you have contributed to them. I mean, I believe the national security architecture is actually pretty good. And if it's not good, let's talk about fixing it. I also believe that the economic and financial reform agenda is good. But if there are problems with it, let's fix it. And if you feel that there are things that are going wrong, I very much hope that your suggestions coming from this meeting will be constructive and that they will provide a basis for continued engagement.